Hello, lovely souls. Welcome to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I'm Christina Larero, a certified angel messenger and angel Reiki master teacher. My spiritual journey began in the spring of 2022 when my spirit team nudged me to listen to the amazing Angels and Awakening podcast by Julie Jancis. Since then, I've been learning to use my spiritual gifts and growing increasingly curious about spirituality and the various healing modalities. I'm so excited for you to join me on this special journey as we dive into spirituality and healing while exchanging our wisdom and profound insights with other remarkable healers. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, get cozy, and let's embark on the spiritual journey together. Hey there, it's Christina the Angel Messenger here. I just wanted to remind you to stay connected with me for all the latest updates and angel messages. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Christina Angel Messenger. Remember, that's Christina. If you're interested in an Angel Reiki session, you can book one virtually or in person through my website at www.christinaangelmessenger.com. Remember, that's Christina angelmessenger.com. Stay tuned for more uplifting, insightful content on this podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, lovely souls. Welcome back to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I'm here with Elizabeth Plancon. She is a intuitive manifestor mentor. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for our conversation today.
I am so excited. So I always like my guests to start off with, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm Elizabeth and I'm an intuitive manifestation mindset mentor, activator, and healer. And so I help really honestly people up level their lives to their next level, and create the life that they've always wanted and really, stepping into their purpose, stepping into their power, and really just being able to have this beautiful experience every single day.
That's amazing. I always like people to start off as well with their spiritual awakening. Everybody's is different, so I'm always curious to know how people's are.
Yeah, so, mine was very subtle, I would say. I have always kind of been drawn to the spiritual world my whole life, but never really dove into it, right?
Yeah.
And I've been, exploring intuition and was very drawn to the psychic world, like the spiritual world, that kind of thing. And it wasn't until about probably 2020 when we were all stuck at home and had a lot of time
Mm-hmm.
on our hands, right? And I started to just have this opportunity to really look at myself and my life and what I was creating every day and started to have this pull for something more, something greater, like to be more of service of somehow. And I really wasn't sure what that was going to look like. All I knew is that what I was currently doing in a job, which was I was an association manager and meeting planner, wasn't what I was supposed to do for the rest of my life.
Mm.
So then it was like, okay, well, then what am I supposed to do here? Right. So
Yeah.
I just began to open myself up and explore and, found my first mentor when I booked a reading with her. She was offering, soul purpose readings. I was like, yeah, I need that, like what is my soul's purpose here? And I've always known I was intuitive, just never really had the time to sit down and develop my skills. I tried, I
Yeah.
dabbled and never really could focus. And now it was the time for me to actually do this. And so that was kind of like the start of like my big spiritual
Mm-hmm.
awakening where I really was starting to study spirituality and tap in. And I always was someone saying like, "Oh, I can't meditate, I can't concentrate." And because it's a discipline, right? It's a practice. It's something that it's like a muscle, right? You have to practice at it and it improves. And so that was the beginning of it for me all, and people will say you go through multiple spiritual awakenings. What I think really it is different levels of awareness begin to open up
Yes.
for you, right? And
Yeah.
so, but I would say really in 2020, that was like my big one. Like it was always subtle, kind of trickling in until that was like in my face. You can't avoid it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I had like I've always been spiritual and into the mediums and things.
Yeah.
But mine hit me 2021 where I got back into work full time in the office. And I just kept coming home like, what is my purpose? Like, I love what I do, but I don't feel like that's my calling. And
Mm,
then I remember vividly, I was cleaning my room and I usually like play background music or something, but I kept hearing podcasts. So I was like,
mm.
really? I'm like, okay. So, and I was listening to Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. Angels in Awakening. And that lit the light bulb moment for me. And I was like, whoa. So I
Yeah.
always like to hear how people's almost light bulb moment happens, or if it's multiple light bulbs, because I do believe we have multiple spiritual awakenings. Like you said, they're just different levels. They open up a different awareness at different times.
Right. When you're ready for them.
Yes. Yeah, it's all in the
Hmm.
divine timing. It's all the way it's supposed to happen, even though we can get frustrated about it and be like, why didn't it happen earlier? It wasn't supposed to.
Right, 100%. I truly believe that because and I tell this to my clients all the time, right? Like if if you're not ready for something and it comes to you like you want it now, right? But if
Yeah.
your body is not physically ready for it for that expansion, it won't be able to hold on to it and you will lose it, right? It's kind of like
Yeah.
the theory with, why a lot of people that come into a big, quantity of money or like win the lottery or something like that lose it so much because they haven't done the groundwork for the expansion to receive all of this money all at once,
Yeah.
right? So it's
Right.
building that ladder and expanding within us the ability to, whatever it is, receive the information, receive the guidance, receive the skills, whatever, because it came at you all at once. Your body and your nervous system would almost freak out and would completely shut down and just not handle it. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's so true.
And we have to meet certain people and
Yes.
experience certain things as well.
Yes.
It's amazing how everybody's experience is different, which brings
Hmm.
me to your intuitive manifestation mentor activator healer. Could you go into, so that sounds like a bunch of things into one, but
Yeah.
it's to me it sounds like it's one big umbrella of manifestation and then it's just different entities, right?
Yeah, I mean, over time, I have evolved as a mentor, right? And as a
Yeah.
healer, and new skills have, just like we were just talking about, like new things on tap or open up for you over time. And I first started out just, as I was developing my psychic abilities and learning energy healing, and I became a Reiki master. And then my next level was a manifestation mentor and mindset, mentor, because I loved manifestation and
Yeah.
mindset. It completely changed my life once I mastered that and really understood it and, learned how to use it to my advantage. And there was a time last year where I kind of got to this point again where I was ready for my next up level, and I was like, there's a piece of this that's not all here yet, right? Like something is missing, and then developing or not developing, but remembering that I'm actually an activator for people and I have this ability to, get people fired up, right? Activate them in their purpose and in their work so that they can help others as well while creating the life that they desire, which is the manifestation and mindset piece of it. So there's really my work really encompasses all of these aspects because I'm helping people and guiding them through the process of stepping into their purpose, into their power, while also helping them heal their past wounds and also helping them, transmute the doubts and the fears that come up while you're doing this important deep work, right? Because at
Yeah.
every up level there's new shadows that come up, right? There's new
Yeah.
limiting beliefs that come up at every single level, and so that's where the energy work and the healing comes in because we're peeling back the layers every time we up level. And there's things that we can release and let go of now that we weren't aware of before that we had.
Yeah, I think that's amazing how you're wanting to up level yourself, but also adding that to your title because, if you just see intuitive manifestation mentor, that's just one baseline of what you're doing. You're activating people and you're also healing people. So I think that's really amazing how you really added that and empowered yourself with that title.
Yeah, I couldn't leave it off, to be honest. I know it's like my title's like super long, but I don't care because I'm like, it's such in honest to God, like when I first mastered manifestation and mindset and it changed my life so much, I did drop off the energy healing and the intuitive like stuff. I stopped doing readings, right? I was not
Yeah.
really tapping into that. And I realized what am I doing? Like I have these skills and this beautiful gift that I have completely like abandoned, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it was like thinking mainstream, like this is what people want or this is what's going to get the
Yeah.
attention. I'm not really sure. But really, when I finally like, accepted all of my gifts and encompassed it, that is when I felt I am so empowered by it all because it is important to be able to do all of those things for my clients, right? And
Yeah.
it makes me feel more powerful in my own gifts and everything. So yeah, I always like include it all because it is in everything that I do.
So with that being said, do you have different sessions for different parts of your title?
Yeah, for sure. I really do. And this either in one-off sessions, like I have healing sessions over here or have an activation session over here where it's like a reading and an activation. And then I have just coaching sessions. And even with my one-on-one clients, we really do focus on one thing in a session. Because if I'm giving you like all these things at once, your body is not going to be able to handle it. Like
Yeah.
your nervous system's going to be like, I'm overwhelmed with everything you just gave me and I can't deal right now.
Yeah.
Right. So in my work, we really just do focus on one thing at a time.
Mm,
And it can obviously, some people want everything at once because they want to just move, move, move. But I think it's really important so you can really adjust and expand to be patient in the process of healing and becoming activated, and then we'll do the mechanical stuff, right? Like the
yeah.
the strategy and the coaching and all that kind of thing. And I support people throughout the week too, right? And it's not just in the session, but then afterward you just need some time to decompress and be able to take action, right?
Yeah.
So like, can you imagine if you went through a healing and it was like so emotional and you're like, holy crap, like what did I just experience? I just let go of all this stuff and I feel so peaceful. But now I'm like, okay, now go and do, right? Go do, do,
Yeah.
do, 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 do this, right? No, we can't. You just need time to just be sometimes. So that's why it's a completely different energy, allowing you to
Yeah.
shift, right? From maybe doing to being, right?
Yeah, and you need to process it.
Yeah.
Like whenever I do a healing, I always tell people take a few days to process because I just gave you a bunch of information, but you might think of something else, a couple days later, be like, "Oh, she said that in the reading," or "Oh, I really should think about this." So I always,
Yeah.
tell people like you just gotta kind of be in the moment and take what resonates and run with what works for you and what doesn't.
Right. Exactly. I love that.
So I'd like you to kind of give like a manifestation 101 for people that don't know what it is. I feel like it's a very trendy term, and there's a lot of people who think it happens instantly, but it really takes practice, and you really have to stick to it in order for it to work, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's whatever you believe to be true will be your truth, right? So
Yeah.
my mentor that I learned manifestation from, she's cultivated the belief that she can change a belief in an instant, and that will be her new
Wow.
belief. Like that's a belief that she's cultivated, right? Which is beautiful. But for the majority of us, it is not that easy to change our beliefs in an instant, right? We do have to
Yeah.
keep up with that practice and reaffirming that belief. So manifestation is really the act of bringing something from, what they call the fourth dimension, which is our imagination,
Yeah.
into our physical reality, the 3D. Okay? So 4D to 3D, right? We
Yeah.
are we are creating. We are creating our reality. And some people think it's something that we just do, but really we are manifesting all of the time, whether you know it or not. And that's why, which I know we're going to talk about in a little bit, our book is called Manifesting with Purpose. You can intentionally manifest your life. And a lot of people are like intentionally is the word,
Right.
unintentionally manifesting their life, right? Like they're not aware of that they're actually creating their current reality. So what it is, it's like when you have a thought, right? We have a thought in our mind and what we focus on is what we are creating, because those thoughts basically, then we have a thought and we give it meaning, right? We think it's
Yeah.
either a good thought or a bad thought, negative, we become sad, or we're happy about whatever we're thinking about. And what that does is it puts that emotion that we're feeling in our body, puts off a vibration into the world. It emits a vibration, right? Into the
Yep.
world, universe. And the universe, the world responds back to that vibration and brings us what we are an energetic match for. You cannot manifest what you are not an energetic match for, right? Everything vibrates. Everything is made of energy. Okay? This computer we're talking from is made from energy. Our
Yep.
phones, my desk, everything is made of energy. We are made of energy. And we vibrate at a certain frequency, okay? And so when you're putting off these vibrations, aka emotions, you're putting out this frequency, and the thing that matches that level of frequency is going to come back to you. So, for instance, if you are having sad thoughts, that's a lower frequency, okay? That's
Yep.
a lower vibrational thing. So you're having sad thoughts, and the universe does not know the difference between good and bad, right? It doesn't know
Mhm.
the difference between the things you want and you actually want. It just responds to what you're giving off and thinking, oh, this is what they're focusing on. So this is what they want. So we're going to give them more of this. So the universe responds by giving you more things that are going to make you continue to feel the same way. So that's why we really, in the manifestation world, we always talk about being grateful, being in
Yeah.
gratitude. Because when you're grateful for the things that you have and the things that you are experiencing in your life now, you're in this state of gratitude. You're giving off this energy of being grateful. And the universe is like, oh my gosh, they're so grateful. Let's give them more things to be grateful for. And then more beautiful things begin to come into your life to be grateful for. And it's this cycle, right? It's this cycle.
Yeah.
It just you keep creating the same thing over and over again if you keep the same thoughts. So we want to change our thoughts to what it is that we want to manifest. And I understand, we all understand, like, negative thoughts are going to come up in our lives, right?
Yep.
It's normal, it's natural, we're human. There's no way around it. But it's what you do with those negative thoughts that matters. Do you sit there and focus on that negative thing that's happening and spiral downward, and keep in that energy of sadness or grief or loss or frustration or anger, whatever that negative emotion is? Or what you can do is change the thought, become aware of it, right? That's the first step, is becoming aware of your thoughts. Okay, I'm having this negative thought. Why am I having it? And what does it mean? And now, what would I love to think about? Like, how would I love
Mm.
to feel? And you've changed that into, I would love to feel this way. It would be wonderful if this came into my life, and focusing on that. And if you're really in the thick of it, it happens where you're just having, well, I don't know what I would love and it's impossible to see. We always go back to gratitude. What can we
Yeah.
be grateful for in our life right now? And really, we're always abundant. We have air, we have water, right? Maybe it's a cup of coffee, maybe it's a hot shower, maybe it's a roof over your head.
Yep.
Being grateful that your basic needs are met. And if you're even struggling with that, with lack of basic needs, right? Maybe you can find resources, or asking the universe, can you please help bring me universe? Like, can you please, like, I should rephrase that, thanking the universe in advance for
Yep.
bringing you the help that you need to have your basic needs met if they're not being currently met, right? Living in
Yeah.
this expectation that what it is you desire is going to come for you. And so we give gratitude. Thank you, universe. And you can say God, spirit, source, whatever resonates with you. I use those words interchangeably.
Yeah.
But really, thank you, God, for bringing me the things that I need for my basic needs to be met. And you can get very specific, right? Like, thank you, God, for bringing me the money so I can pay my electric bill this month. I am so
Mhm.
grateful. right? Like that's how I would word it if I was in that state of struggle. So I know that was a really long-winded answer, but trying to answer it like in a shorter answer was not as easy as I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, manifestation is a big topic. It's not
Yeah,
like, you have to you do it this way. I mean, there's certain ways that you have to phrase it. Like, as you were saying, you got to give the gratitude and see it as have it.
right.
And that's the same thing if you're putting out like, why is things happening to me? It's not, it's happening for you.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a very important thing to point out. So thank you, because a lot of us are in this victimhood, right? Where we
Yes.
think things, everything, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening? These things happen to me, and we start to live in that, grief or struggle. And again, the universe is going to respond with bringing you more things of that instead of changing your perspective, right? To, like you said, why is this happening for me? And maybe you won't know. Maybe you won't know right away why this is happening for you, but everything happens for a reason. And it could be that you've been creating this over and over again because that's what you're focusing on.
Yep.
Right. And so learning the lesson of, okay, I need to change my thoughts. I need to change my emotions that I'm focusing on so I can change my life. Right. Or
Yeah.
maybe something is being removed from your life that you feel really sad about, but down the road, you're going to realize was really for your highest good. Right. But
Mhm.
we may not know right away why things are happening for us.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And it takes practice and it takes time to change our mentality that we've had for so many years
Yeah.
of the victimhood, of the negativity. Lately I've been, stressed out at work and I'm like, all right, just gotta let us do the stress for 5 minutes and then just let it blow away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Um, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry. Um, because if you don't acknowledge it, it's just gonna keep coming back up. So I just give myself my 5 minutes to stress, 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 and then I just let it roll away.
For sure. Because, yeah, exactly. Awareness is key. If you don't bring it to your awareness and you try to just push it down, it just gets stored in your body. And that's going to end up manifesting in some physical way or
Yeah.
emotional way down the road that is not going to be for your highest good, right? So it is
Right.
important to acknowledge those negative emotions or the stress when it comes up. And you can allow yourself to feel it, right? There's nothing, it's not like you're going to mess up everything you've done if you spend 5 minutes in feeling the stress or the anger or whatever it is. But the more you practice, like you said, the more you practice turning those emotions around or thinking a new thought, the easier it's going to get. And the quicker you'll
Yeah.
be able to do that to get back to that positive state, right?
Yeah. It's also like your thoughts, right? So we have how many thousands and thousands of thoughts. Not all of them you're going to attach to, but you have to be mindful of what you're attaching to.
Hmm.
So, lately I live in a tourist area and there's a lot of road rage and there's a lot of traffic and you just gotta roll it off and just be like, all right, I'm stuck in traffic. There's probably a reason why I'm stuck in traffic, but I roll with it instead of getting angry and
Yeah.
in a low vibrational state.
Right, right. There's nothing you can do about it, so why get angry about it, right? Maybe instead now you have an extra half hour to, be with your thoughts or be in a quiet space or listen to the podcast that you've been meaning to listen to that you
Yeah,
haven't gotten to, right? Or maybe there if you would have gotten there sooner, there would have been an accident, right? Along the way. You never really know why things happen, and just it is kind of being like it is what it is. I know that's like a cliche that people hate, that for years are like, oh, I hate that statement, but when you actually accept that it is what it is statement, then and not put meaning to it, then it makes it so much easier just to accept it and not get angry or upset or frustrated.
yeah, 100%. I think this is a perfect segue into your book that you co-wrote, Manifesting with Purpose. So, can you talk about it? I just finished reading it today, and I absolutely loved it. I think it was a really easy book to read, and I love how you all had call to actions and reviews at the end of the chapters. I think that's actually really smart for me, who kind of reads and doesn't grasp all the information. I don't have the best reading comprehension.
Yeah,
I think that was really smart because you don't always read the full chapter in one sitting, or for
right,
people who don't have the reading comprehension like I do, and I just am reading the pages and understanding everything, but not remembering it all. So I
right.
applaud you all you ladies for that, because that was an interesting, and love that part of books.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, three of me and my three other coaches, manifestation mindset coaches, we're in a mastermind together. And Jessica West, one of my co-authors, one day said, does anyone want to write a book? And the four of us or three of us other ladies raised our hands that we wanted to write a book, and we really wanted to bring like kind of like a manifestation 101 book out to that was, like you said, relatable and easy to read and understand. We're on a level where the basic, first time reader for manifestation can understand it. And when with the chapter and practice at the end of each chapter where there's like journal prompts or questions or reviewing,
Yeah,
that was really important to us because we wanted for our readers to be able to embody and take away and actually practice the things that we just covered in each chapter. Because how often do you read a self-help book or something and you do
yeah,
nothing with it? Right? Like you just read it, the
yes,
concepts, and you're just like, okay, now what? You don't implement any of it. So this
yeah,
is really to help you implement each thing in the chapter so you can actually make progress towards, learning and mastering manifestation rather than just reading it, putting it down. Because that's what happened to me. When I first learned about manifestation, I read the book and I wasn't getting anywhere, right?
yeah.
I wasn't really understanding the concept 100%, was not doing anything. And that's kind of what sparked me to start exploring into mentors, right? And when I first finally
Mm,
took my first course, that's when it changed for me because I was like forced to implement the things I was learning. So
yeah.
that's why this was so important for us to include in that, into the book.
And I think it's just really smart because I can't tell you how many books I've read it, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go and write that quote down," or "I'm gonna go do that after they've said it," and I never do. But since it's right in the book,
Yeah,
it really, and it's the end of a chapter, it makes you stop, go grab a journal, get quiet,
right.
and ask those questions to yourself.
Yes, because creating the awareness is key, right? Creating the awareness of where you are and then developing the plan of where you want to go. And then actually, that's how you begin to shift. That's how you begin to change your life.
Yeah, and I love that there was 4 different perspectives, so we can kinda get different perspectives of manifestation, but it's all intertwined,
Right.
and it's all, different. I already said different perspectives, but there's just something really unique about having 4 different authors
Mm.
writing a topic. Like, I've only seen a handful of co-author books, but this really meshed really well. I almost forgot, like, who was speaking because it
Right.
just flowed so well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we all have our own language, right? And our own
Yeah,
tone. And that's what's beautiful about it is that we have these different things. So maybe someone else might relate to one author more than the other, but we still all, coincide. Because what I've seen a lot of times in the past from co-author books is everyone just writes their own chapter and it's like a compilation of stories, right? Like this is an actual like book that we all wrote together. We all have our separate chapters that we wrote. Like we each wrote two chapters and then we
yeah.
co-wrote the ninth chapter, but we all read each other's chapters. We all read each other's chapters. We all gave each other notes on our chapters
Mm,
and helped edit. So it was like we were all involved in the entire book. It wasn't like
yeah,
completely separate where we're just this is what I have to say and that's it. And it made it so much stronger, right? Because
yeah.
we actually were able to help each other being like, oh, I think you should mention this here, this would be really powerful. and, totally opened and welcomed. And it was just such a beautiful process for us to do together and grow together that way.
Yeah, and I just love that you all, instead of being like, "I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna write a book," you're just like,
Yeah,
"Why don't we just mesh it all together in a
for
beautiful
sure.
way?"
For sure. And it just, especially when, this was a lot of, I think this was all of our first book. It made the process so less overwhelming because it can
Oh,
be
that's
very
nice.
overwhelming to write a book. And, you can go and self-publish, but we actually used a publisher. So,
Mm,
it was a whole different process. And for us, it really just helped with that whole process of, being able to publish something and become an international bestseller, right? I don't know if
yeah,
that would have happened if we hadn't wrote it together and gone with a publisher, right? So that was, in 2 days we were a bestseller. Maybe even the first day we
wow,
were a bestseller, but 2 days international bestseller.
that's, like, manifestation right there.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely manifested that. We are all like eyes on the prize. This is what we desire, and this is what's going to happen, and it did.
That's amazing. And then the
Yeah.
forward to the book was your mentors, right?
Correct, it was. Yes, our mentor, we all had the same mentor. Like I said, we all met
Yeah,
through our mentors coaching program, and because we became coaches through, under our mentor. She had a coaching program at the time, and she did write our forward for us. So that was very special.
that's so really amazing, and you were actually really personal in your chapters.
Mm,
I'm not sure if you're comfortable talking about it, but that was, beautiful, I have to
mhm.
say, and I give you props for talking about your fertility and, how you manifested your babies.
Yeah, no, the so Jessica,
Oh, is
Friesen
it
is,
Jessica? I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that's okay, but, I mean, I was personal in my, chapter as well, I think talking about, my story and my mindset around
Mhm.
money and everything like that,
Oh,
and always
yes, yes,
freaking out
I'm
about
I'm
money.
sorry.
No, that's totally okay, but Jessica's story is so beautiful. Jessica Friesen, she is an infertility mentor, helping women, manifest their babies, right? And really, it's such an important topic because I had infertility issues as well. And so if I would have known what I know now, and she's the same way, if I would have known what I
Yeah.
know now, it would have been such an easier process, right? The amount
Mhm.
when I was pregnant with my second child, I had, 2 losses prior to that. The entire pregnancy was so stressful. I worried all the time, right? Like, I was so worried about it and so scared the whole
Yeah.
time. If I woulda known, like, what I know now, it would
Mm,
have been completely different experience, right? Because I would have trusted that everything's going to be okay and it's all going to work out, and visioning my baby with me, at the end. And of course, it turned out
yeah,
okay, right? At the end.
right.
But and the same thing with Jessica, that's what she used to do is just, she was able to manifest her babies because she visioned it, right? She saw it
Mhm.
happening, she saw it holding in her arms, and now she helps women with that, which is so
Mm,
beautiful. It's such a beautiful mission that she has. So it was really so special for all of us to be very honest and open, which is can be very scary to do, right? If
yeah,
family and friends are reading your stuff, and through the mindset work, you kind of learn to, let it go, let the fear of judgment go.
yeah,
And the vulnerability allows you to connect with people on such a deeper level so they can relate to you and understand what
yeah,
you've gone through so you can then also help them, because there's so many people out there that, need the help but don't realize how relatable it can be.
absolutely. Do you mind, talking about your chapters?
Yeah, so I wrote about positive thinking first because that was the one of the biggest shifts in my life. I was, your negative Nancy. I worried all the
Mm,
time. I worried about money specifically all the time. Thought every month probably I would have a freak out about money, like, oh my
mm,
gosh, we have debt and we're never going to be able to do this or that or blah blah blah, blah whatever. And I was one of those people that was, walk on eggshells with my family, or, I always got my way, right? I was that,
yeah,
like, very always, I hate to say it and I'm sorry, I was, those typical, let me see your manager, right? kind
Mm,
of person. Like, I'm going to get my way and I'm going to fight you tooth and nail. And
right.
once I learned this material, holy crap, my life changed because it was like, I no longer have to be that, angry, frustrated
Yeah.
person all the time. I don't have to worry because I know I am divinely supported and guided, and everything's always going to work out for me. Everything is always working out for me. I will always be okay. And now I realize that I get to create what I experience in this life, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to judge people and hold judgment towards things and hate on people, right? Like,
Yeah.
some of my family, they make fun of me because I no longer hate on anyone or judge anyone, and I'm always like, oh, like let them be, or like I change the perspective, right?
Right.
And then the other chapter I wrote about, I believe, was faith, and it
Yes.
was really just having the faith in that higher power, right? I was raised Catholic, and I always thought, faith was how much you believed in your religion, right?
Yeah.
And or if you were really religious, and I never was. I never really resonated with the Catholic religion, and so I
Hmm.
just thought I'm not religious. Like I'm not really. I don't have a strong faith, realizing that for me, faith is believing in the unseen, right? Believing in that
Yeah.
higher power that does support us and guide us. And like studying this material and learning about my spirituality also just was so freeing, not worrying
Yeah.
about, the doom and gloom all the time, right?
Hmm.
And having faith that no matter what's going on in the world around me, I'm okay and I will be
Yeah.
okay. And I don't have to allow the outside world to affect my inner world. So those were my two chapters I wrote around about because they were the most, impactful in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And positive thinking is, something that's really important. And it can be very hard in this world during certain times to put that positive thinking in. But like we were talking about, if you just incorporate it in a practice, start with the gratitude journal. Three things you're grateful for is usually the most that I hear from about is three things you're grateful for in the morning and three things you're grateful at night. It's little things. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like this big thing to start off, right, Elizabeth?
No, no. I mean, like I said, it could be like, I'm grateful for this cup of coffee that I get to drink right now. I'm grateful for my children, or, I'm grateful for the clothes that I have. I'm grateful that I received unexpected money. Like, it could be anything, right? And it can be, usually, if they're small things, that's great because what that does is it gives you evidence of how much abundance you actually have in your life, right?
Yeah.
Everywhere, right? I'm grateful that the sun is shining. I'm grateful that it's, nice weather. I'm grateful for my cell phone. Whatever it is, right? It could be small. It doesn't have to be this big thing. Like I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head, which is a bigger thing, right?
Yeah.
It really all those little things add up and make you feel so abundant.
Yeah. And I think, if you feel like there's not many things to be grateful for, you're going to be amazed of how many things you actually have and
Yeah.
can be grateful for.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
sometimes it's daunting to think, "Oh, I gotta write a gratitude journal every day. I'm gonna run out of things," but you really don't if you really sit down and think about absolutely everything.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's really just allowing yourself to feel that gratitude, right? Because
Yeah,
you could get again stuck in that victimhood and being like, well, I've got nothing to be grateful for. You're not really allowing yourself to see the beauty that is all around you. So it requires a mindset shift, right? It requires
yeah,
you to shift your perspective on what is good and what is bad. You get to decide what is good in your life, and you get to decide what is bad in your life. So choose to see the good instead of always choosing to see the bad.
yeah, and then once you develop that gratitude, you're gonna see a shift happen in your life
Hmm.
where you're grateful for more things, but you're gonna have more good things come to you.
Hmm.
Spirit sometimes shows me it's like a magnet. So whatever you put out is what you're gonna get back, like we
Right?
were saying earlier. So if you're focusing on the negative, then it's gonna be hard for that. for God, universe, source to send you back the good.
Well,
If you
right,
put out the good,
yeah. Yeah. Just because your thoughts in your conscious mind go into your subconscious mind, which
yeah,
determines the vibration you're putting out and the actions that you're taking every day.
yeah,
Your subconscious mind accepts everything as truth. So if you are saying like, I'm lazy, I'm broke, I'm not well. This is then your body thinks those things are true. And that's how it's going to act. And the universe will respond was like, okay, you're broke. Here you are. Here's more broke because you're telling me I'm broke, right? So
yeah,
if you start affirming, I'm rich, like I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, and start to believe that. And it doesn't mean you have to have $1 million in the bank. You can be rich because, like we said earlier, all the simple things, right? Like
yeah,
you have clothes, you have electricity, you have, food, like that makes you rich, right? And
mhm,
everything's on comparison. So again, the universe is like a mirror. It's responding to how you are acting and how you are showing up. So choosing those positive thoughts and changing your perspective on what is actually going on in your life and focusing on how you would like things to be, right?
yeah,
How would you love things to be? And connecting to that emotion is really important as well. So you have to feel it on an emotional level. Like, what would it feel like if you could achieve, if you had everything that you wanted, right? If you wanted
right.
all of your dreams, how would that feel? And then taking a moment to feel that emotion, whether it be pride or safety or security or happiness or joy or freedom, whatever it is. Take a moment to feel that emotion and be in it, and then act as if your wish is already fulfilled. So, acting as if, playing that emotion of that feeling of freedom. How would you be living your life? What would you be doing? Right? What changes would you make every day in your body?
Yeah, that's really powerful. Gosh, I love this conversation. There's manifestation it's so high vibrational though.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like just the word, if you tune into the word, it just feels high vibrational. It just feels like joy and love.
It's creation.
Yeah. And you co-create. So you
Mhm.
know what you put out and the universe will co-create and give it back.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. So I would love if you could tell people where they can find you, where they can find the book and your services.
Yep. So you can find me online on Facebook and Instagram. My username is just my name, Elizabeth Planson. And my website is elizabethplanson.com. And our books are on Amazon. We also have a journal that goes along with it. If you're someone that likes to journal and have that structure, we do offer that as well. So those are on Amazon. The links are also on my website for those as well as, and my social media as well.
Oh, perfect. Do you have any last words to wrap up this episode?
I would just encourage you all to just become really aware of your thoughts, what you're focusing on, and then become aware of them if they're something that you want to recreate in your life over and over again. And if not, how can we change our thoughts to what it is you do want to create in your life and begin focusing on that? I also do have a free resource on my website for a manifestation bundle, which is a daily affirmation guide and a
Mm.
manifestation checklist, which will kind of give you the steps to manifestation if we're going to put it in a step process.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to check that out. You can find that on my website. I think it would be really helpful, for those beginners as well as the book. Check out the book, Manifesting with Purpose. It's a great way to, get yourself into the spirit and the energy of creating the reality you desire and you want to experience.
Thank you, Elizabeth, so much for being on the podcast today. I really love this conversation.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was so beautiful. Thank you again.
Of course, of course. All right, friends, this is the end of this episode. We will see you on Monday.